Thank you for joining me. I am Mica Sims with MicaSims.com. I am joined with Rand Paul, Senate candidate for Kentucky. Thank you for joining me. I have to ask, why now? You are a doctor.
Right.
Why have you decided to put your hat in this race?
I get asked that question a lot. People say, well, why would you leave a profession that's universally respected to go into a profession that's not very well respected? And I think it's because I'm worried. I'm worried about our country. I'm worried about the level of the debt. I'm worried about the annual deficit. I'm worried that it could get to the point where it becomes unmanageable. And I think we have to do something about it. The people we've entrusted our government to, these career politicians, if that's all they do, I'm afraid have led us, down a wrong path. And it's going to take someone who really has the courage from the outside to come in and say, we have to change things.
You are running against quite a few established candidates. We've got an Attorney General, we've got a Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State. What makes you the best fit for Kentucky?
Well, I think what's best about it, and I say my greatest asset is that I've never been a politician and never held office. Some say, oh, that's a negative. I say, oh, that's my greatest asset, that I haven't been involved. I think within our primary, I think there's a clear contrast, between, a physician, a small business person, and someone who's just been in politics most of their life. And I think people are ready for that. I think the Tea Party movement has spontaneously arisen as people that they see the issues and the danger of big government and debt, but it's not always just party. In fact, the most common thing I hear from people within the Tea Party is that it's the person that's important, not the party. And that is a better way to try to fix things in our country, is to emphasize the issues and not just the empty partisan bickering.
It's been said that you are running on the Republican ticket, but it's been said that you are a libertarian at heart.
What's funny about that is I'm accused by that from someone who's only recently become a Republican. My main opponent in the primary is a former Democrat, a former supporter of Bill Clinton, and I've always been a Republican. When I was 18, I registered Republican. When I was a kid, I went to the Republican National Convention in 1976 when my father and our family supported Ronald Reagan. So not only have we always been Republican, we've always been conservative Republican. And so when people do that, I kind of laugh because they think they're going to latch onto it. It's a big issue. They're going to attack me as not being Republican enough. But what it really does is it draws reference back to that person who's attacking me, because that person was recently a Democrat. So, really doesn't work for them. But it's politics. That's the way politics is.
Referring to that, if by some chance you don't win the primary, will you encourage your supporters to support the Republican?
Yes, we will support whoever the nominee is.
Okay.
And we expect the same from the other side.
Yes. You have raised quite a nice endorsements, most recently Sarah Palin. How did that come about?
We're excited by that. It was neat. We tried all the usual ways. Our political people talk to their political people, and that's been going on for months. And then what really bumped it along was somebody like yourself who was an activist, and it was a supporter of ours, and he wrote a certified letter and sent it to Sarah Palin's house in Alaska. She responded directly to our campaign, and that's how it came about. But we're excited. Sarah Palin we see as sort of the de facto leader of the Tea Party. She's the most popular person in the country within the Tea Party movement. To get her endorsement really, I think, helps to confirm what we've been arguing for many months now, is that we are the candidate that is the conservative candidate versus the establishment moderate. And that's the theme, and has been the theme of our campaign for 6 months now. It's been reported on in all the national venues. It's similar, if not the same, to sort of Mark Rubio running against the establishment, Charlie Crist, who's come out of nowhere. We were running against the hand-picked establishment candidate in Kentucky. We've come from behind in the polls to actually being ahead in the polls because there is this great movement, this Tea Party movement, that is spontaneously, I think, arisen in our country.
Well, for me, it's that with your father, Ron Paul, and so many accusations of you running his coattails with Sarah Palin. What is one of the distinct differences that you have with your father's policies?
Well, I think the interesting thing about coattails and this and that is that we've got a lot of endorsements. Most of the conservatives in the country, the national groups we've gotten, Concerned Women of America, which is a pro-life family group, has endorsed us. Gun Owners of America, which is a hardcore Second Amendment defense group, has endorsed us. Steve Forbes, sort of the father of the flat tax, has endorsed us. So we really see this as not sort of, obviously having a famous father has helped me get started, but I think I win this on my own and my own issues. And so I don't think there's any question who I am. I've been involved with the tax reform movement here in Kentucky for 15 years. I started a group called Kentucky Taxpayers United. I've been on Kentucky Tonight with Bill Goodman for many years as a political analyst. So I really don't feel like I have to run away from the shadow of my father. There are many things that I admire about him. One of the things, besides being my dad, that I admire about him and that I said the other night when he came to Louisville was that he is famous throughout Washington for not selling his vote. He will not sell out. The lobbyists don't even bother to come to him because his vote's not for sale. You can't give him a contribution and buy his vote. And I think that's incredibly admirable and something that I would want to emulate. We may not agree on all the issues, and there's some things we don't. The idea of whether or not people should be tried at Gitmo or in civilian courts, he and I disagree with on that issue. I think that the terrorists that have been captured and that are held at Guantanamo Bay should be tried in military court there. But there are some things we agree on that I think we should do better. For example, one of the big things I talk about is that 16 of the 19 hijackers that came on 9/11 to attack us came here legally on student visas. 10 years later, the underwear bomber that came in, he came here on a legal visa. We spent hundreds of billions of dollars on Homeland Security, and where's it gone? If we can't stop a guy who came on a one-way ticket, no luggage, paid cash, and his dad even informed on him, and we can't stop. So I'm proposing as a campaign idea, as well as legislation, let's put a moratorium on travel visas from anybody coming from about 10 countries. The 10 countries that seem to foster this terrorism, let's don't let them in until we at least figure out how to do an appropriate travel visa and know who they are before they come.
It's interesting when you say that because your father has been has said that America has made the policies that have made us vulnerable for the 9/11 attacks. And I'm
Right.
paraphrasing, but you
Right.
can probably
But I think
explain
vulnerable is a
better.
good word, actually,
Uh-huh.
in the sense that we are vulnerable, but it doesn't mean it's our fault. You know what I mean? So people get confused sometimes on what he's saying, but some of it's the way we articulate it. What I say is, we are not responsible. The people who attacked us are responsible, and we should do everything to prevent them from attacking us again. But at the same time, we don't justify what they did, but we do need to look at things in the grand scheme of things as to what motivates terrorism. For example, one of the things that wasn't much reported upon, but George Bush did in his administration, is we did leave Saudi Arabia. Now, some would say, oh, that's just appeasement, but maybe it's just smart policy. George Bush left Saudi Arabia, and that was one of the big things that they don't like is they see Saudi Arabia as their holy land. They didn't like U.S. troops there. We didn't completely leave. We moved to other countries, but maybe that's good foreign policy. And does that make us weak? No, maybe it makes us smart not to have wedge issues over there. But at the same time, that's only part of the issue. A lot of the issue is we need to be prepared to defend ourselves here and there if we need to.